Inside the Magic, show number 473 for April 27th, 2014. It is Sunday, April 27th, 2014. This is show 473 of Inside the Magic, and as always, I am your host, Ricky Briganti, with a whole lot of Disney and theme park news and plenty more fun. And before we get to all of it, I invite you to visit our website at InsideTheMagic.net. There you'll find all of our podcasts, videos, photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And if you ever have any news, tips, questions, comments, or anything else, you can always email me at ricky@InsideTheMagic.net, or you can call and leave a message at 407-494-4ITM. That's 4486. And now, let's get on with the show. This week's episode of Inside the Magic is brought to you by Magical Travel. Book your summer Disney cruise with Magical Travel and receive a shipboard credit to use while you're on your vacation. You're going to want to book now for the best availability and pricing by calling Magical Travel today at 866-207-8387, or visit them online at magicaltravel.com to receive a free price quote. And when you do that, be sure to mention Inside the Magic to receive a free Disney gift card for qualifying bookings when you book your Disney vacation with Magical Travel. And thanks very much to all contributors to Inside the Magic, whether you're making a donation, one-time or recurring, or just clicking through any of the affiliate links found over on InsideTheMagic.net. It all supports this show, and I thank you very much for all of it. And now, let's get started with a trip around the world. Starting out here at Walt Disney World, I was really hoping to be able to tell you all about the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train this weekend. There was a pretty big possibility that it was going to soft open. However, nope, not quite there yet. The Imagineers are still putting the final touches on this ride this weekend. They've had this sort of massive contraption covering one of the ride vehicles, or the mine trains, sending it around the track, checking for clearance. It looked like almost something out of a horror movie, this big metal thing covering sort of this semicircle thing covering the vehicles, making sure that if anybody were to stick their arms up in the air or perhaps even stand up, which you definitely shouldn't do while you're on the ride, but if you did, they want to make sure that there's lots of clearance so that nobody has any accidents. So they're working on that. One of the final bits of testing I believe that they'll be doing, certainly coming up in just a few days, is the big press event at Walt Disney World, not only for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, but also sort of unveiling officially My Magic Plus and Fast Pass Plus and a whole lot more. Should be pretty exciting this coming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Disney, however, is still not calling it a grand opening for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train just yet. They're calling it a dedication on Friday, which means that even after that takes place and there's sort of the big grand hoopla marking the occasion, it won't necessarily be open at that point. It seems like it's still a little bit touch and go at this point to see when exactly this attraction is going to officially open to the public, but there's a real good chance that anytime in the next few days it will open, at least for a little while, and I will definitely get to ride as part of the event. So I'm looking forward to telling you all about it next week. However, construction walls are completely down around the attraction. You can head over to InsideTheMagic.net and take a look at what it looks like from the outside, and then come back very soon to see the rest of it, what it's all about. Now, speaking of My Magic Plus and Fast Pass Plus, there's some changes that are going into effect tomorrow, Monday, April 28th. It's something I talked about, I believe, on last week's show, that Disney had announced that they're making changes to Fast Pass Plus already. After you select your 3 Fast Pass Plus selections in advance, or when you get there for the day, and you've used all 3 of them, then you're going to get the opportunity to go to one of the kiosks in the park and select another Fast Pass Plus reservation. Then once you've used that, you can go back and do it again. And after you've used those 3 as well, you'll be able to pick it for any park. You'll be able to park hop. It doesn't have to be contained within it. Now, the downside is that you can't use the app to do any of this. You actually have to go physically to the kiosk to make these selections. So that may change in the future. That's just how it's going to work for now. I'll definitely try it out sometime within the next few days and see how all of that shapes up. Now, also happening this week is the 25th anniversary celebration of Disney's Hollywood Studios. That's May 1st, and surprisingly, Disney is not including it as part of the press itinerary. There's a lot of other things going on that day related to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So those who are part of the press event, the media here to cover all of that, are basically going to ignore Hollywood Studios, which is a little bit odd. It's a nice milestone, 25 years, but I'll certainly try to have somebody over there to cover the happenings, which will be at 10 a.m. Mickey and Minnie Mouse, along with the park's Vice President Dan Cockrell, will have a small rededication ceremony of the park to honor 25-year cast members there. And then cut to later in the evening at 7 p.m., there will be a Stars of the Studios motorcade with Captain Jack Sparrow, Darth Vader, Doc McStuffins, Wreck-It Ralph, Vanellope, Sophia the First, and other characters motorcading down Hollywood Boulevard. And then at the end of the night will be a special fireworks show at 9:30 p.m. So lots of extra entertainment for that 25th anniversary. Now, of course, coming up shortly thereafter, later in the month of May, will be Star Wars weekends, and Disney has finally announced the full celebrity lineup for this year. In addition to voice actor James Arnold Taylor hosting the event, Ashley Eckstein will be there as well. Of course, she was the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars. She'll be hosting or will be in a Behind the Force show featuring the cast of Star Wars Rebels, which is coming up soon, and the cast will be sort of sprinkled throughout the weekends. Weekend number 1, May 16th through 18th, we'll have Ahmed Best, who was the voice of Jar Jar Binks. Peter Mayhew will be there. He, of course, was Chewbacca. And Vanessa Marshall will be there, and she's one of those new names to the Star Wars universe. She'll be in Star Wars Rebels, the new animated series. Her character is Hera Syndulla. Then weekend number 2, May 23rd through 25th, Warwick Davis will be there. Of course, he was Wicket, the Ewok, as well as had a small part in Episode 1. Jeremy Bulloch will be there. He was Boba Fett. And here's another one of those new names for Star Wars Rebels. Tia Sircar is the actress's name. She will be playing Sabine Wren in Star Wars Rebels. Weekend number 3, May 30th through June 1st, Ray Park's going to be there. He was Darth Maul. John Ratzenberger is going to be there, which is kind of a stretch in the world of Star Wars. You know him, of course, from many Pixar films, as well as a lot of other things like Cheers. But he, in Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, had a very small part. He was Major Bren Derlin. You probably don't even remember that he was in the movie. I certainly didn't. So he'll be there. And then another Star Wars Rebels cast member, Taylor Gray, who is playing Ezra Bridger. Then weekend number 4, June 6th through 8th, this is going to be the big weekend. Mark Hamill is going to be there. Luke Skywalker, of course. And then Ray Park will be there again, Darth Maul. Billy D. Williams will be there. Of course, he was Lando Calrissian. And then another, a repeat Star Wars Rebels cast member, Taylor Gray, will be there once again. Then finally, since it's extended this year to 5 weekends, June 13th through 15th, D. Bradley Baker will be there. He was Captain Rex and some clones and some other characters for the Clone Wars, his voice. Kat Tabor will be there. She was Padme Amidala in Star Wars The Clone Wars, along with other characters. Tom Kane, Yoda in The Clone Wars. Matt Lanter, who was Anakin and other characters in The Clone Wars. Steve Blum, who was Zeb Aurelios in Star Wars Rebels, or will be that character. So a pretty big lineup for that last weekend as well. Lots to look forward to throughout Star Wars weekends. Disney also announced a new nighttime event for Star Wars weekends called the Feel the Force Dining Event. That will include reserved viewing for the Legends of the Force Star Wars Celebrity Motorcade at 11 a.m. with some beverages and snacks to enjoy. Reserved viewing for the Symphony and the Stars fireworks at 9:45, along with a Star Wars-themed dessert party that's going to include Darth Vader cupcakes. And you'll get a special Disney PhotoPass card that has a series of complimentary Star Wars photos. Now, all of this costs $54 for adults and $32 for ages 3 to 9. Now, some big Imagineering news came out just a couple of days ago. Scott Trowbridge is a name, or Trowbridge. You might know his name from the world of Universal Universal Studios. He was most notably the producer of The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man ride, which is still a fantastic theme park attraction. But in addition to that, he's also worked on, he worked on the development of Islands of Adventure in general, and many, many other projects over the years. Well, just a few years ago, actually it's been quite a while, 2007, Walt Disney Imagineering got him to come over to them. Haven't heard his name too much since then, but now he has been tapped as the head of what Disney is calling Star Wars Studios. Basically, he is in charge of developing Star Wars for the parks. That's pretty exciting news. We don't know any specifics, of course, but there's something in development, and he'll be the guy behind it all, and definitely a good one to be at the head of that. Now, on the flip side of that, Tom Fitzgerald, that's an Imagineer name you might be familiar with. He's been there for years and years, decades. In fact, he's one of the top executives of Walt Disney Imagineering. He worked on the original Star Tours, the revamp of Star Tours, and many, many, many other projects. He is actually not working on the new Star Wars studios that I mentioned. Instead, he is now going to be overseeing Epcot attraction development. That's right. I actually said Epcot. That means Disney is putting one of their lead Imagineers on the project of Epcot in general. So we should be expecting some pretty big things to come for that park in the coming years. So some big moves for Walt Disney Imagineering. Now let's jump over to Universal Studios Florida with a little update to the original Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Of course, Diagon Alley is on the way to Universal Studios Florida, and with Diagon Alley will come the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes store. And because of that store being on the way, the Zonko's Joke Shop is now no more. Universal has reopened that part of the store as an expansion of Honeyduke's, the sweet shop right next to it. So Zonko's doesn't exist anymore. Honeyduke's reaches all the way through with the candy jars everywhere and lots of green paint on the walls and a lot less cramped quarters in there as well. All the merchandise that was in Zonko's is going to be available over in the other half, the Diagon Alley half of things, along with a whole lot more as part of the huge Weasley's Wizard Wheezes store that will be opening this summer. Let's hop out to California for some, here's some pretty exciting news. I get the question all the time as I'm going around to, pretty awesome special events, press events, that sort of thing. People ask me all the time, how do I get to do that? How can I go? How can I attend? Well, I actually have a good answer for you for once. This week, Disney Interactive is holding a special event in Hollywood, California to introduce the next version of Disney Infinity 2.0, the video game that will be introducing Marvel characters into the world of Disney Infinity. We will certainly be there to cover the event. I'm sending Jeremiah Dawes because I won't be out in California because I'll be in the midst of this big Walt Disney World press event, but you can be there as well. I'm running a contest over on InsideTheMagic.net with 10 winners that I'll be sending to the special event that's taking place at the Pacific Theater Cinerama Dome on April 30th in the morning. And you and a guest, if you are a winner, will have a chance to see Disney Interactive President Jimmy Pitaro, as well as Marvel Chief Creative Officer Joe Quesada, and plenty of press, of course, and the big reveal of what it means for Marvel to be coming to Disney Infinity. Pretty exciting. So head over to InsideTheMagic.net ASAP because the contest is ending tomorrow, April 28th, because I need to give them some advance notice of who the winners are so they can get your names on the list so they can get you in. And if you do win, make sure you get back to me ASAP with your information so I can forward it on to Disney Interactive so they can get you in. So definitely head over there as soon as possible. If you are in the Hollywood area, there's no travel, no transportation, none of that. You have to get there yourself. But yeah, I will get you in the door if you win the contest. Lots of entries so far. So good luck. You'll see it on the Inside the Magic homepage. Now, here's a little bit of Walt Disney Animation Studios news to turn to movies now. Of course, later this year is their big feature film, Big Hero 6, which we haven't really heard a whole lot about. It's been quite a while since we've heard anything about it. Well, this week, Walt Disney Animation Studios announced the short film that will be played ahead of Big Hero 6 is something called Feast. It's going to first debut at the Annecy International Animated Film Festival on June 10th. It's directed by Patrick Osborne, who was also the head of animation for Paperman, which was fantastic. Disney's description of Feast is the story of one man's love life as seen through the eyes of his best friend and dog, Winston, and revealed bite by bite through the meals that they share. interesting concepts. Of course, Big Hero 6 and now Feast will hit theaters on November 7th of this year. Speaking of movies, Disney Channel has announced Teen Beach Movie 2 is coming. It will have the cast of the original Teen Beach movie returning and is set to premiere on Disney Channel in 2015. Now let's turn to the world of Star Wars, where here's some news that has caused a bit of an uproar this week. You might be familiar with the Star Wars Expanded Universe. There's the Star Wars movies, right? You know those stories. Well, then there's the rest. There's comics and books and video games and all of that. And moving forward with the new trilogy of Star Wars movies that's coming out, a lot of people have been wondering, are they going to incorporate any of this expanded universe, these stories, these characters into the new movies? Well, Disney and Lucasfilm have come out and said there is now something called, it's a Lucasfilm's story group that is trying to unify the expanded universe across films, TV, animation, comics, novels, and games. They're going to make it, as they put it, consistent and cohesive, the narrative across all of it. It seems like they're trying to sort of pull in the Marvel Cinematic Universe model and make it all make sense together, which the Star Wars Expanded Universe hasn't really in the past. There's been sort of bits and pieces here and there, but they don't all gel together. As a result of that, they've basically said that everything that's come in the Expanded Universe before doesn't really apply moving forward. They might take bits and pieces of it and use it here and there, but none of it is canon. None of it is something that you can look to and be like, oh yeah, this movie's based on this because this is where the story's going. You don't know where it's going to go because none of it really is official. So that's essentially what they've said, that the Expanded Universe is something that fans have enjoyed for many, many years, but at this point it is just that. It's almost, a notch above fan fiction at this point. Maybe a little bit more than that, but it's something that they definitely have said that they're going to continue to utilize in the future, and just want to make sure that all of it makes sense together instead of being different stories all over the place, which makes perfect sense to me. I never really got into the Expanded Universe at all. I've really just kind of seen the films, and I've played a few of the video games, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it all kind of mashes up in the future. Now, here's something I want to play a little clip of for you, a song that has shown up on YouTube that a few people have sent me this week that's pretty amusing. You know the old show DuckTales, of course, from the Disney Afternoon, one of my favorites of all time? Well, here's a slow jam version of DuckTales. That is just fantastic. You can find the whole version of that on YouTube. You just search for DuckTales Slow Jams or check this week's show notes, and you'll certainly find it there. And last bit of news this week is just some Inside the Magic news. We have reached 200,000 likes on Facebook, so thanks very much to everybody who has been following along on Facebook. In fact, we've surpassed 200,000. It's like 202,000 now or something. So keep, if you're not already following us on Facebook, definitely do so, as well as Twitter, YouTube, and all that good stuff for everything coming up. Particularly, follow along this coming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, because not only are we going to be talking about Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, a lot about that, interviews, the ride itself, the queue, and everything surrounding it. Also, sort of the insight behind My Magic Plus and Fast Pass Plus, as well as some other fun surprises that will be happening throughout those days. So definitely stay tuned for all of it. And that'll do it for your news from around the world this week. Now, last week on the show, I had mentioned some issues that were going on with Anna and Elsa debuting over at Princess Fairy Tale Hall at the Magic Kingdom with FastPass Plus, some bugs associated with their appearance. And also, it seems that there have been other sort of miscellaneous bugs here and there with FastPass Plus, where things, reservations have changed or disappeared, or you couldn't make them in the first place because of, just because of an assortment of bugs in the new software. Well, the My Disney Experience app has been updated since then, just a few days ago, and they specifically noted that the new version of the app was fixing FastPass Plus bugs. So my tip this week for you, in sort of relation to last week's adventure and tip, is to update that app as much as you can whenever there is a new version, because things are not entirely perfect at the moment in the world of Disney's newest system, but they're getting there. The official rollout is imminent, and from there I'm sure they will continue to tweak it as needed to make sure that everybody is on the same page when it comes to all of it. But it's always a good idea to have the latest in your iOS 6 instead of 7, because you don't like 7. The look of it and all of that, well, you're kind of out of luck because the app doesn't work with the older version, so you just have to use the mobile site. And then, well, anyway, that's another story for another day. Everybody else out there, email your tips into tips@insidethemagic.net. Now it is time to talk a little bit about Star Wars, because at the beginning of this week I was actually out in California in the Disneyland area, Burbank, Glendale, hopping all around, courtesy of Disney Store, who was hosting a special event to unveil their new line of exclusive Star Wars merchandise that will be coming out, when else? May the 4th. That's the beginning of the merchandise. So it was definitely a whirlwind trip. Was flown out there, had a few stops along the way, and then came right back and reported on all of it along the way. So for those of you who didn't tune into all of it or want to hear just a little bit more about what I had a chance to do, stay tuned here, because I have lots to share. But before we get to Star Wars, I actually just want to talk a little bit about my brief visit to Disneyland, which is always a nice thing. Just to head over to Disneyland, spend a few hours there, see what's new, see what's interesting. Kind of a brief trip report here of sorts. Some of these things I've talked about before, but I had a chance to go on the newly updated Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which is wonderful. I really enjoyed the upgrades that they have added to that attraction recently. I went on it both during the day and at night and saw the new special effects, the explosion effects and smoke and rumbling. And boy, is this thing loud. I think it's actually louder from outside the attraction than actually when you're riding it, because in the distance, when you're walking around Frontierland, you just hear this noise, and you're just like, what in the world was that? Oh, it's Thunder Mountain. It is indeed thundering now, so that's pretty cool. I definitely would recommend next time you're at Disneyland, go ride it multiple times. It's quite a treat now. I would love to see that type of those types of effects to make their way out here to Walt Disney World instead of just an interactive queue. Of course, you can see video of that experience over on our YouTube channel. In addition, I wandered through Fantasyland to check out Anna and Elsa's meet and greet out there. Hadn't seen that in person yet. Of course, I didn't actually get into their meet and greet because when I got over there midday, the line had already been cut off for the entire day. And it had been cut off for a couple of hours already, just because it's the same thing out there as it is out here. A crazy popular meet and greet. But I did get to see the Olaf audio animatronic that's outside their meet and greet, which is wonderful. He was, looking around and saying funny things, and again, something I wish we had out here at Walt Disney World. It's nice that Anna and Elsa, are here, but they're kind of just stuck in Princess Fairy Tale Hall. I would love to see something a little bit more themed, like Disneyland has done for them, which is really nice. Over at Disney California Adventure, I saw the Maleficent movie extended preview, which we do have out here in Orlando at Hollywood Studios. However, it's not the same. Out here, it's basically just, here's the preview in 3D, the end. In California, there's fantastic special effects because it's in the Bugs Life, Bugs Land theater for its stuff to be a bug. And you're utilizing all of the effects in there, lighting and wind and water and smoke, and it really enhances. I wish I could see the whole movie like that. Of course, you can't, but at least enjoy that while you can, because, the movie looks pretty good. I don't know. I'm undecided about whether Maleficent's going to be a really good movie or just an average movie. Seems like Angelina Jolie is going to be a great Maleficent. I'm not sure about the rest of everything, but I don't know. We'll wait and see how the movie turns out. But at the very least, California Adventure, the preview is fun. Now, as it turns out, the day I was at Disneyland with the Disney Store folks, I was actually there on the 50th anniversary of the 1964-65 World's Fair, the actual day, to the day of when that opened, which was pretty cool because so many attractions at Disneyland originated there. So I made sure to visit Innoventions, which used to be the Carousel of Progress, which used to be, at the World's Fair. At least that's where it debuted. Of course, now the Carousel of Progress / Innoventions is really the Stark Expo, more or less, because there's Thor and Captain America and Iron Man in there. So, all of that is happening there now. But, I made sure to say, hey, happy 50th anniversary to what used to be there, as well as I wrote It's a Small World, which is very much almost the same as what it was many years ago. Also rode on the Disneyland Railroad to see the Primeval World, which was a part of an attraction at the World's Fair. So that was nice. And then, of course, I didn't actually go into great moments in Mr. Lincoln because I'm on a time crunch, and unfortunately I didn't. But I made sure to walk by and look at the sign and at least say a happy 50th to that attraction as well. So that was kind of fun to see all of that. A bit of a, as I said, kind of a abridged trip to all of that. But it was nice to see at least a half a day at Disneyland. Now, let's talk a bit about Star Wars. It was a very small group of select media. It was just a couple of Disney websites, as well as a bunch of Star Wars blogs and websites that were there to see this unveiling from Disney Store about the exclusive Star Wars products that are coming soon to those stores. The Disney Store, of course, is what I'm talking about, is the stores that are in the malls near you. They're everywhere. And I had a chance to go to Disney Store headquarters, which I'd never been to before. It was pretty cool. I had a chance to walk around a bit, take a tour of it. It's really surprising location. It's a warehousey feel, very open, not like individual offices. It's very open. There are cubicles, but they're completely open. Of course, there's toys everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Disney Store products, lots of fabrics and swatches and artwork and just things everywhere as they're designing it. One of the really cool things that I saw was if you've been to one of these newer Disney stores, the Imagination Park stores, there are the trees and the walls and all of that have projections. Well, all of those projections are run simultaneously across all of the stores out of one central location in the main Disney Store headquarters. And they had displays there on the wall, just sort of regular monitors that showed what was playing in all the Disney stores simultaneously everywhere. So that was kind of cool to see all in one place. But, I didn't really see anything too sort of hidden or secret as I was walking around. If I did, I couldn't really talk about it here. I did go into their mock Disney store, which is what they sort of use to set up what the next layout's going to be for the new product. So I saw a few things there that I can't talk about just yet. Some things for, Maleficent, things for, things like that. Nothing too groundbreaking, but, interesting products that are on the way. But the real point of being there was to see Star Wars products. And before I get into talking a little bit about what they did unveil, I want to bring you a brief interview with one of their toy designers. His name is Brian Ewing, and here's what he had to say about Star Wars coming to the world of Disney. How long have you been working on Star Wars products for Disney Store?
About a year now.
Okay.
Since they got the license, so I think we've been doing it about a year, yeah.
And Star Wars has obviously been infinite merchandise over the last few decades. Bringing it to Disney Store, how do you sort of take your own take on that?
Well, trying to delve into, everything's been done, obviously. You look at all the product that's been out there, so we try to take it to like the action figures we did, try to bump up the size on them, really integrate good articulation points and the sounds and the lights and the details at a scale that we don't think's really been done before. Right. The die casts are the same thing. They're a larger size that we really haven't seen before. So trying to just take all the things I've learned over the years and get the details I want in it, and really being a stickler for the accuracy of it, the integrity of the toy, the integrity of the character or the vehicle or the spaceship or whatever you're doing. So just trying to really focus on clean, perfect aesthetics.
Right. Well, in that respect, are you aiming at Star Wars fans, making it accurate for them, or are you aiming at Disney fans? Are you aiming for the general audience?
Pretty much trying to get everybody, the whole demographic of Star Wars. Like you want to appeal to kids, because that's probably the main audience, is to sell it to children, and so they enjoy playing with it and like it. But still, nicely detailed enough where adult collectors like myself would want to buy it. So if I'm pretty much designing things for myself in the detail-oriented part of it, to where I know if I wanted to buy it, I'm hoping other people would want to buy it too. So.
No, I think the line is a good assortment of a little for this person, a little for that person. I'm particularly drawn to the die-cast vehicles. I think those are great, along with the little figurine packs are interesting. I don't know that I've seen Star Wars products packaged that way before.
Yeah, I don't know if I have either.
It's usually, of course we've seen the 3 1/4 inch figures for years and years and years, and those are very articulated. These are, what was the goal to? I mean, I know Disney has been releasing these figure packs for years. Is that sort of your method? Is now bringing Star Wars into that Disney way of doing things?
Oh yeah, because our PVC sets, figurine sets, are very successful. So trying to capture the different scenes and moments in Star Wars with the 6-packs are just great. And they're just infinite play value for kids and their imaginations to take these really detailed figures, even though they're not articulated, they're fixed posed, but they're dynamically posed, and we even try to take the poses of them and do them differently than other people have done, and really search out the movies and what's been done to try to come up with our own poses through our sculptors.
Well, it's really interesting to see those figurines not as animated characters too. These are real, it's a live action movie. I don't remember too many of those figurine sets based on live action.
Yeah, I've seen some things over the years, but it's been few and far between, so it's just a nice little refresh that we're being able to do them and such. So.
How do you avoid stepping on the many other companies' toes who are making Star Wars products, particularly Hasbro with their extensive line of figures?
Well, like I said, it's just trying to hone things to what's good for us and try to be unique as we can, and if we're doing action figures, what has everybody else done, and how can we do our own action figures that aren't being what Hasbro's done, and just create our own line. Like the size, like our talking action figures are much larger, the die-cast vehicles are much larger, and different articulations and things like that. So it's just it's hard because so much has been done, but you got to just take your stab at it, see what's out there, and try to do what you can.
One more question. What would you say to the hardcore Star Wars fan who is worried that Disney's going to ruin everything Star Wars because they're Disney? And
don't worry about that. It's not going to happen. I promise we're going to do fantastic product, and you will all want it.
Well, I believe him when he says that, because it was clear to me in talking to many people there that there were a lot of Star Wars fans. Even the VP of Disney Store, the big Star Wars fan. So they want to do it right. And I heard us talk about a few of the products that they had unveiled there. Let me go into a bit more detail about them. The first one that they had brought out were these large articulated figures, very little shiny, plasticky sort of figures, which maybe it's the downside of them, but other than that, they look great. Very great likenesses. Actually, let me take a step back here. All of the products that they're coming out are based on the original trilogy, which is nice. They're kind of ignoring the prequels for now, especially with 7, 8, 9, the movies, episode 7, 8, 9 on the way. They really want to build off of that and go back to that original 4, 5, and 6 trilogy, and just kind of put the prequels to the back burner for the moment, which is nice. So these figures that are coming out with are like 12 to 15 inches tall or so. Pretty big figures that look really great. The sculpts are fantastic. It's Stormtrooper, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. Coming soon will be Chewbacca and Boba Fett after that. They showed some prototypes for those. These figures are fully articulated. They have sounds, a huge variety of sounds, actual clips from the movies, as well as other features like they light up lightsaber and that sort of thing. Here, let me play a clip of what these figures sound like.
You stand guard. Yes. Give me regular reports, please. If you only knew the power.
I get you.
You guys, she's perfect.
I get
Not a bad bit of rescue, sir. Hey, Luke. May the force be with you. Pokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster in your side, kid.
You okay, R2? Good. Big, wet, let's close it up. We're going in full throttle. Now we can do some fighters up our back.
Really nice assortment of clips there. It's not your standard audio clips that you would hear in a toy. They really mined the Star Wars movies for some more interesting clips, longer clips. The sound is fantastic. They're very loud. It's not these little tinny speakers that are on so many toys. They actually sounded really good. So I would have to praise them for all that. Pretty high quality toys for a very reasonable price. I think those are only $13 each for some large items. Like I said, the only sort of downside to them is they do look a little plasticky, but that's, they're a toy. They're meant for kids to play with, not necessarily for collectors to just put on a shelf and look at, though I'm sure that will happen plenty as well. And actually, I'm sorry, those are $30 each, not $13. They will be, at least when they come out. $13 is the price for the figurine sets that I was talking about there with the toy designer. Now, these figurine sets are great. If you've been to Disney Store over many, many years, you know these sets. They're these little sort of bubble packaging that you see there, and it shows it's a whole bunch of characters that are not articulated. They're fixed figures, but they're in really animated type of poses, really expressive poses. And, it would be for many animated films over the years. They've done it for just about all of them. Well, now they're taking that idea and applying it to Star Wars, and the figures just look great. They've got lots of, familiar and favorite characters from the original film trilogy. There's 3 different sets separated into the 3 different films, and they're all sort of playing iconic moments from the films. Of course, you've got Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, and Slave Leia's in there, and Jabba the Hutt, and, Han and Carbonite, and Stormtroopers, and just everything in between. It's some really nice figurine sets. Those are $13 for those sets, just little PVC figurines. Definitely a collectible item there. Another item that really impressed me that I'm definitely going to have to buy a few of these was, as we mentioned, some die-cast vehicles. But these are die-cast vehicles like no other that I've seen, because normally you think about a die-cast, you're thinking like Hot Wheels or Matchbox or smaller vehicles, die-cast being metal figures. But no, these are big. These are like the Millennium Falcon, hugely detailed, and it's maybe like 6 inches in diameter, maybe even a little bit bigger. They're massive die cast, and I only got to see prototypes that were in plastic, so I didn't really get a sense of how much they're going to weigh, but I imagine they'll be pretty hefty once they're fully realized in the metal. And that they're going to be producing them in, and not only do they just sit there, but they're also sort of little features like opening cockpits or doors, or like there's an AT-AT or a speeder bike, or X-wing and TIE fighters, and they all just look really wonderful. Lots and lots of detail. It's something that certainly collectors will want to pick up, and they'll look great on a shelf. I think some of the biggest die cast that I have personally ever seen. Disney Store also showed off some plush items. Some of them are already in stores, some that are coming soon. There's a Tauntaun and a Jawa and an R2-D2 where you can actually swivel the head. It's not too often that a plush figure or a plush doll or whatever you want to call it has an articulated point on it, so that was kind of nice. There's a Bantha as well, so they tried to sort of pick out the ones that aren't as common, really go for some of those the characters that you don't see quite as often, especially in a plush form. Surprisingly, out of all the pictures that I posted, out of all of this, the one that got everybody's attention the most, the one that kept getting retweeted and reposted and talked about, were character mugs that are on the way. I guess mugs are a huge thing. They were mugs that are fashioned after the characters of Star Wars. So, Darth Vader mug and a Luke Skywalker mug and a Chewbacca mug and a C-3PO mug, and I can't say too much about it. They're ceramic mugs that looked really nice. The paint job was nice. The colors really popped, and definitely an item that I think if you collect mugs or you just need a new coffee mug, they would work out pretty well. Disney Store is also showing off their role-play costumes for Star Wars. Of course, much like Disney princesses with their dresses, well, Star Wars has Darth Vader and Stormtrooper with, these are for kids. They don't have adult costumes, but for kids, they're, decent. They're probably a notch above your average Halloween costume. They're not exactly perfect. Don't expect a full plastic or, PVC or whatever material the cosplayers make their Stormtrooper outfits out of. They're still, sort of flexible, fabric-y material, but they're shiny, and they try to make them as detailed as possible. They had mentioned the metal chain that goes around the neck of Darth Vader is something that they worked on for a while to make sure that was on there, and it looked and felt like metal, but it also wasn't any sort of choking hazard or anything. So that's something that is rolling out in the stores. They also showed us an early prototype of a Star Wars Rebels costume that they just got their first version back in from production to sort of tweak it and move on from there. So that's on the way. Lots of Star Wars Rebels merchandise ahead. I've talked about a lot of that already from Toy Fair a couple of months ago. So lots of Star Wars. This is just the beginning. This is all sort of launching in Disney stores and malls all over the country May 4th, May the 4th, and it's definitely just the beginning of their Star Wars line. They were kind of showing off their attention to detail, and they're basically trying to make them as accurate and as he said, as the toy designer said, trying to appeal to all audiences, whether you're a kid playing with it or you're a collector and you want to own it. I think it's a good start. I didn't really see anything that was necessarily a high-end collectible, but I did ask them about that, and they said it is something that they're definitely talking about for the future, that there's a possibility for, for example, there are the Disney princess designer dolls that have come out that have been hugely popular. Well, imagine not necessarily that exact same thing, but imagine that type of a collectible, a higher-end collectible from the Star Wars universe coming out of the Disney store. That is definitely a possibility for the future. Now, to launch all of this at the Disney stores throughout the country, there will be special events beginning May 4th and then continuing on select days after that. They're going to have giveaways of free pins. There'll be inflatable lightsabers. There'll be a special medal that you can get and wear, whether you're a kid, an adult, whoever's participating in all of this. So you can go to your local Disney store on May 4th to get all of that and to commemorate the launch of all of this sort of this new franchise of toys for Disney Store. Now it's interesting, sort of the mix of everything that's there now, because now you've got Disney, you've got Pixar, you've got Muppets, you've got Marvel, you've got Star Wars. They're really running out of space in these stores, and I asked them, I asked Jonathan Story, who's the VP of Disney Store. I asked, how do you fit all of this? How can you possibly work all of that in and then also add in the really popular things like Frozen and upcoming Maleficent and, whatever else is a more timely thing? And he said that is their biggest challenge, is they only have so much space in every store. And to be able to fit everything that they want to in a physical location is really, really difficult, especially when things are flying off the shelves like Frozen merchandise. And, then you end up with stocking things, but then it's gone right away. And what do you fill that space with? And it's an incredible challenge for them on a regular basis to figure out what to put where. We walked through a local mall's Disney store, and if you've been to one of these newer stores, there's this sort of winding, sparkly path through the store. Well, you get about halfway through, and the path kind of takes a turn. Every store has that, and where it takes the turn, that's what they call their sweet spot. It's there that they feature sort of the most prominent, the most important, the most selling merchandise, and that's where, when it's in stock, Frozen merchandise currently is, but they're also rotating it out with other things like summer is coming, so the Little Mermaid sells really well for them. Maleficent's on the way, as I mentioned a few times here. And so they have to constantly rotate this merchandise in and out to make it make sense in each of these stores, which is a little bit of business of what goes on in the Disney stores. There will be more Star Wars showing up in all the locations, in addition to all of these other properties. There'll be Star Wars clips available in the sort of the interactive video screens that will be appearing there. Whenever the Episode 7 trailer or teaser comes out, that will certainly be playing. Music will be throughout the stores. In fact, he said there's some sort of custom music that's being made just for the Disney stores that'll be very Star Wars and playing throughout to really bring Star Wars in a big, big way to Disney Store. That was kind of the whole point of this event, is to make it very clear that Star Wars is huge for Disney, and they're going to try to do as much with it as they possibly can to really make fans happy. And I certainly got a sense of a lot going on there. Now, for those of you wondering, I mentioned Frozen a few times here. What is going on with Frozen merchandise? Why is it so difficult to get? Well, they've been restocking it actively. In fact, this week, more shipments have been arriving at the Disney stores. From what I've heard from people after publishing the article about this, I've gotten some feedback from people who, based on that, went to their local store, and sure enough, there was Frozen merchandise, and it sold out in like 3 seconds. There were people lined up in the morning. They had to do lotteries for dresses and this and that, so it's still flying off the shelves just as fast as they can put it there. And Disney is really trying to crank it out as quickly as they possibly can, but with hundreds of stores and thousands and thousands of people wanting it all, it's just very difficult. So if you're upset with them because you can't get an Elsa dress or a doll or whatever, they are as they basically said they're doing their best to crank it out. They said they had high expectations for Frozen. And the expectations were even though it was very high, it went even bigger than they ever thought it would. And so they were even not exactly ready for the phenomenon that Frozen was, but they have said they already are developing more products for Frozen, not just the current line, which is rolling out to shelves as much as possible now, but there's going to be more on the way in the near future. And certainly as Christmas gets closer, there'll be more toys and all of that, that they're definitely not done with the Frozen line of things. So look for more and more to come in the near future. Now, one of the things that I know a lot of people wanted me to ask about and people wonder about is why isn't there more for adults in the Disney store? And really the answer that I got was not a great one. It was that because of the limited space in the stores, they really have to focus on the children's items, and that's the point of the Disney store. For adult collectibles, they have just essentially put them on DisneyStore.com, and that's where you can find them. They said that there are certainly adult items there, items for adults, collectibles, and adult apparel and that sort of thing. But it's not something that they really want to stock and take up valuable, limited space in the stores. So whether you like it or not, that's their response, that's their answer, that's the direction that they're going in with the mall store. So don't expect to see much for adults in those stores anytime in the near future. You're really just going to have to look on the website. I had brought up to Jonathan's story the concept of Disney side or Disney bounding, using characters as inspiration for outfits, and wondering if Disney Store had any plans to develop a line of apparel that was based on characters, not costumes, but just sort of inspired by or influenced by the looks and the colors of characters. And he kind of looked at me like I was crazy. Apparently he had never heard of these concepts before. So yeah. That's clearly they're focused very much on children and what they do for kids, and not so much what's going on in the world of adult collectors, which is unfortunate for adult fans of Disney. But kids are really where they are setting their sights and where the stores are going. So that is about it for talking about the Disney stores themselves. However, I do want to mention one other really cool thing that I had a chance to do as part of this grand Disney store a 2-day event out in California. They also brought our small group of press to the Walt Disney Studios, the movie studio, which I had been there briefly many years ago. For those of you who have been with Inside the Magic for years and years and years, you remember I was in the Imaginations competition even before I started this podcast, but I'm sure I've talked about it on the show before. I had submitted a project, when I was at the tail end of my college career to Imagineering, and became part of that competition. During that, back in, it's been like 11 years now, I had a chance to go to the studios briefly because that's where the award ceremony was. Well, this is the first time I've been back to the Walt Disney Studios since then, and this time I got a proper tour from one of their tour guides, and joining us on the tour was Steve Sansweet. You Star Wars fans will probably know that name. He is the owner of Rancho Obi-Wan, who the official record holder of the world's largest Star Wars collection. In addition to that, though, he has worked at Lucasfilm in their marketing and fan relations departments. He's written or co-authored 16 Star Wars books. He helped create the Star Wars celebration events. He helped launch StarWars.com, and so he's been a big part of Star Wars over the years. And so he was there walking around being a Disney fan with the rest of us and learning about sort of the history behind what the Walt Disney Studios was for the last 8+ decades, and where it's going now that Lucasfilm is part of it. And that was kind of the culmination of a day walking around the lot and seeing all kinds of cool stuff, going into the ADR room where they've recorded all the Pixar dialogue and lots of dialogue for just about every major Disney movie. They said Angelina Jolie was just there the other day recording for Maleficent and all of that, seeing locations where they filmed Saving Mr. Banks and all of that. But the culmination of all of it was seeing, at least the outside of the Lucasfilm office at Walt Disney Studios. There's a big Lucasfilm sign, there's Star Wars posters, there's a statue of Yoda, Kathleen Kennedy's office is there, and we didn't get to go inside, of course, because there's lots of secret stuff going on in there, but at least I saw the outside and sort of, appreciated where Disney has been, the animation studio and the live action studio and the sound stages and everything, and where it's going with Lucasfilm in the immediate future. So if you want to see photos from all of this and some video from all of this, from the products to the Walt Disney Studios tour to a bit of Disneyland, head over to InsideTheMagic.net and check out all the articles that I've published there. And definitely go to the Disney stores on May the 4th to see all the new Star Wars products.
Hi, Ricky. Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hi, Ricky.
Hey, Ricky.
Ricky, this is amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Inside the Magic Listener Feedback.
All right, time for a little bit of listener feedback before wrapping up this week's show. First up is an email from Rob from England, who writes, I've been listening to the show for a couple of years now and a big fan. In July this year, I'm coming to live and work at Walt Disney World, working in the UK pavilion at Epcot. I've been to Disney and Universal plenty in the past, but I'm curious about other attractions in and around the Orlando area. Do you have any recommendations of things to do that are maybe a little bit different from the standard theme park fare? Rob, great question. Yes, there's plenty to do around Orlando. Of course, you mentioned Universal and Disney. Of course, there's SeaWorld, and if you want to drive a little bit further, there's Busch Gardens over in Tampa. Those are the major theme parks of the area, but I'm sure you're plenty familiar with all of that. One of my favorite things to do around Orlando is certainly mini golf. There's lots of mini golf to be found, and not only Disney's and now Universal's, but also lots on International Drive and just kind of here and there around the city. Those are always fun. Some are better than others, but, it's mini golf, and it's something that I always enjoyed when I used to be, a tourist coming to Orlando. I would make sure to hit at least one or two mini golf courses every time that I came here. That's always fun. International Drive is something you can certainly drive up and down and see lots of, it's kind of, it's very touristy. It's chain restaurants and that sort of thing, but you will find some interesting things that are unique there, and certainly depending on when you're coming, I guess you said July this year, it sounds like it's too early for that, but they're working on some pretty big stuff as part of the iDrive 360 project there, but that's a ways away. I think that's not opening till next year, so you'll be here a little too early for that, but that's just a little bit over in Old Town on 192. You can explore that a little bit, specifically to check out the, if you're into the Halloween side of things, Legends, A Haunting at Old Town, the year-round haunted house that's there. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned this, because I just found out a little while ago that I am going to be at Legends, the Old Town haunted house, this coming Saturday, which is May 3rd. On the evening, if you go to that haunt that night and tell them the code phrase, "Happy Birthday, Eric," you will get half off your admission that night, and you'll see me as one of the characters inside, haunting the place up, along with a few other fellow website owners and bloggers. Eric actually refers to Eric from Behind the Thrills. It's his birthday this week, and in honor of that, we're sort of doing this special event over there. That should be pretty fun. So I probably should have mentioned that earlier in the show, but I'm glad you reminded me of that now. So come say hi. Anyway, so that's certainly something fun to do. It's tough to sort of give a generalization of other things that are different and fun to do, because I don't know your preferences. There's a lot of smaller exhibits and museum type things, Titanic exhibit and all of that, but it's all a little bit touristy. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Certainly up and down 192, you'll find a lot of that. Up and down iDrive, you'll find a lot of that. What I love to do when I go into cities, it doesn't have to be Orlando, it could be anywhere. I love finding sort of the local flavor of food and things that are not necessarily tourist traps, but sort of the local hangouts and this and that. So my favorite way to do that is to just pull up online and pull up a Google map and just search for food. And coming up around you at any moment, you'll see lots of dots, and you can kind of click on each one and then find things that are unique to where you are. It's hard for me to recommend specific things in certain places because I know your transportation situation. If you're on the international program, it might be tough for you to get around and that sort of thing. But as it gets closer, if you want more specifics, I can definitely put together a more complete list. But there's some general ideas of what you could do. David writes in and says, I've been listening to your podcast for about 3 years now and always gets my week started on the right foot. First off, I wonder if you know how crowded the Universal Orlando parks get the days after Thanksgiving. My family is from Miami, but I live in London and I'm visiting for Thanksgiving. We're thinking of driving up to Orlando Thanksgiving night and going to the parks Friday through Sunday. I'm worried the Diagon Alley opening will add some crowds and wonder if 3 or 2 days is sufficient to cover both parks. We are a large group of 10 adults and celebrating my engagement while we are there. Also wonder if any details of a 2-park ticket is required to experience the Hogwarts Express attraction. David, first up, congrats on your engagement. And yes, it will be very crowded. That's one of the most crowded times of the entire year. Add to that Diagon Alley, and yes, it will be very, very crowded, unfortunately. You will need a 2-park ticket to see both sides of the Wizarding World as well as ride the Hogwarts Express. So count on that. And if you really want to see everything, 2 days is minimum for sure. You might have to spend one entire day just devoted to Harry Potter, let alone everything else that's there. So yes, unfortunately count on some pretty big crowds that weekend, and there's really no way around it. Just kind of knowing that, go into it, accepting the fact that you may not see everything, and just kind of focus on the most important things. All right, let's go to a voice message.
Hello, this is Jeremy calling once again from the Neverland podcast. I have a fun story I want to share with you. I volunteer here in Missouri at a state park called the Watkins Mill State Park. The Watkins family owned a woolen mill here, kind of on the west side of Missouri, kind of up towards the north half, just north of Kansas City. Well, I was working or touring, rather, the ice house that's on the property. See, they still have the home for the Watkins family near where the mill is that you can actually come and take tours on. And so we do this thing called Spring on the Farm, and I was volunteering, and so they assigned me to the ice house, as I said. And so really I needed to be able to explain how back in the 1800s, how people would cut ice from the ponds and how they could store the ice in this pit. And I figured, well, what a great way to actually explain this, but to ask everybody if they'd seen the movie Frozen and to recall the first 5 minutes. And I tell you, this was a great success, although there were some people that had not seen the movie, but there were these 2 little girls that when I had mentioned Frozen and talked about the first 5 minutes, they were so excited, and they began spotting the tools that were inside the ice house, the saws and the tong and the ice plow. And they were like, oh, that's what they were using when they were cutting the ice, and they picked it up and they pulled it on the cart, and their eyes just lit up. And so I was actually pretty thankful I was able to use Frozen and Disney to actually teach history to the children there. So great, wonderful experience, had a good time, really, really exhausted from it, but it was really great fun to be able to use something from Disney to be able to teach history here in Missouri. So I figured I'd share that. All right, everybody have a magical day. Bye-bye.
Born of cold and winter air and mountain rain combining, this icy force, both foul and fair, has a frozen harbor mining.
Hopefully you were singing the song while you were giving the instructions. A great story. I love that, that you're able to, as I've said in recent weeks here on the show, make it Disney. Take something that's definitely not Disney at all, but turn it into something that's really fun, and certainly you got through to some kids who otherwise would probably have been bored out of their minds learning about ice harvesting, and but all it takes is one really, really popular Disney movie, and suddenly everybody's very interested in that sort of thing. So great story. Thanks very much for sharing that here, and I guess next time you'll have to talk all about somehow trolls, the rocks coming to life. Yeah, maybe not so much. All right, let's do one more email and then wrap things up here. Michael writes in and says, been enjoying your podcast for a few years now. Gives me something to look forward to on Mondays. I'll be turning 50 on October 1st this year, and I've talked my wife into taking me to Walt Disney World to celebrate. I'm a big fan of both the Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and knowing that both parks will also be celebrating birthdays, I was wondering if you had any advice about which one would be best to spend that day. I would prefer to go to Magic Kingdom, but I don't know what to expect in the way of crowd levels, having only traveled there during the summer in the past. Well, Michael, happy early birthday to you. And generally speaking, if it's not a major anniversary year, Disney doesn't do a whole lot or really much of anything to celebrate. If there was any chance of anything happening as far as a birthday celebration, it would probably be at the Magic Kingdom, something pretty brief. So if you're looking for that sort of thing, that would be where you should go. However, beyond that, October 1st, not a terribly crowded time of the year, so I think you can definitely enjoy being here without worrying about it being overrun by tourists or anything like that. There will be a Halloween season, so that certainly draws some people. And it's worth looking into whether or not that particular day will be a day for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. But other than that, not too much else to think about and worry about other than just enjoying your birthday and having a wonderful time at Walt Disney World. And that'll do it for listener feedback this week.
great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
So there's a whole lot to look forward to in the coming days. I cannot wait to finally ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train this week. It's been years in the making, and just waiting and watching little by little all of New Fantasyland come together, and then the building of the mountain and this cottage and the track and watching them test it, and finally it's all coming together, and I look forward to talking all about that next week, along with all the other fun, debut of officially of My Magic Plus and FastPass Plus. Should be interesting to learn more about that and any other topics that Disney will be unveiling. They're going to have a presentation, one of their famous Around Our World presentations, which they could announce something new, so I'll have to wait and see if they do that or just kind of rehash what they've already talked about. Like I said, a lot to look forward to. Also coming up in the very near future, for those who have been following along outside the Magic, the other sort of subsection of Inside the Magic, talking about things that aren't exactly Disney and not always family friendly either. I got a project that I've been working on for that for quite a while now, so that's coming up in the near future. So those of you who are interested in that side of things, definitely stay tuned. Something pretty fun going to be posted there this week. Of course, I do want to thank Magical Travel for sponsoring this week's episode of Inside the Magic. You can find out more about their services by visiting magicaltravel.com. And between episodes of this show, definitely visit InsideTheMagic.net. That is your source for Disney and theme park news, and is where you can find all of our podcasts and videos and photos, news, articles, and plenty more. And certainly follow us on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, particularly this week with so much ahead. I'll be posting quite a lot beginning on Wednesday for the couple of days that follow. So make sure to follow along all the social media to stay on top of all of it. So thanks to all of you for listening each and every week. Have a magical week. Bye.
Shining at the end of every day, there's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, just a dream away.